And welcome back to another podcast with Mr. Hagan. And on the last podcast, we looked at what happened to a supply and demand market when the price was relatively high and it created a surplus. That's what we looked at on the last video. On this video, we are going to look at what happens if the price is relatively low. So let's say that for some reason the price of the good is $2. I don't know what the reason is. Doesn't matter right now. Let's just say that the price for some reason is $2. If the price of the good, whatever this good happens to be, is $2, then we go to the price right here at $2 and we draw our horizontal line across. We draw across our horizontal line, hit the demand curve and come down. And that tells you that when the price of the good is $2, consumers want to buy 4 units of the good. There it is up here on the demand schedule, and here it is on the graph. When the price is $2, consumers will want to buy 4 units of whatever this good is. Now, what if the price of the good what happens on the supply side when the price of the good is $2? When the price is $2, the producers only want to bring 2 units of the good to market. Let's see that on the graph. When the price is $2, come over to the supply curve and come down, producers only want to bring 2 units of the good to market. So when the price is $2, producers are willing to produce only 2 units of the good, but the consumer wants to buy 4 units of the good. When the price, let me say that again, when the price is $2, producers want to bring 2 units of the good to market, but consumers want to buy 4 units of the good. So consumers want more of the good than what producers are willing to bring to the market when the price is low, in this case at $2. And economists call this a shortage. We say there is a shortage in the marketplace. And what that means is that the quantity supplied is less. In this case, it's only 2, is the quantity supplied, is less than the quantity demanded, which is 4. The quantity supplied is less than the quantity demanded, or said the other way, the quantity demanded is less than the quantity supplied. There's a shortage of the good from here to here. There's a shortage of the good. Consumers want more than what is available. Consumers want 4 units of the good, and there's only 2 units of the good available. So what's going to happen? Consumers are going to start to bid up the price. Some consumers are going to be willing to say, hey, I'm willing to pay $2.25. I'm willing to pay $2.50. And the price is going to start to get bid up as consumers try to get the good because there's only a shortage of it. The consumers are going to be fighting for the good by bidding up the price. As the price gets bid up, let's say the price gets bid up to $2.50. Price gets bid up to $2.50. Well, what's going to happen there? If the price gets bid up to $2.50, well, we draw our price line across. At $2.50, come across to the demand curve and come down. At $2.50, consumers are now only going to want 3.5 units of the good. That is to say that there's going to be a decrease in the quantity demanded moving along the demand curve. And you say, wait a minute, Hagan, that arrow is pointing up. Isn't that an increased quantity demanded? No, it is a decreased quantity demanded. That demand curve is pointing to the left. We are moving along the horizontal axis. So we're moving to the left. As the price goes up, the quantity demanded falls from 4 to 3.5. At the same time, as the price gets bid up, let's go along the supply curve, there's going to be an increase in the quantity supplied. As the price gets bid up, suppliers are willing to bring more of the good to market. More people are attracted to produce this good. So that means that the shortage is now going to be smaller. There's still a shortage. It used to be that the shortage went from 4 to 2. Consumers wanted 4 units of the good. Producers only brought 2 units to market. Now the shortage is going to be smaller. Consumers want 3.5 units of the good, and producers brought 2.5 units to market. But the key is that there's still a shortage. And if there's still a shortage, that means that the consumers are going to bid the price up even higher, and they're going to bid it up until we get to this kind of magical point, if you will, where the price is $3. When the price gets to $3, come across and over to the intersection point where the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. That is to say, when the price gets bid up to $3, the consumers want 3 units of the good. Producers are bringing 3 units of the good to market. The market clears. Everybody's happy. There's nothing to cause the price to get bid up or down. So that happens right here when the price is $3. The quantity demanded is now exactly equal to the quantity supplied at 3. And that is called, we said it on the last video, that is called equilibrium. Equilibrium, which is when the quantity supplied is equal to the quantity demanded. That is equilibrium. So here's what we saw in the last 2 videos, and this really is pretty cool, pretty amazing, and that is this. That if the price is above equilibrium, there will be the natural consequences of that will be that there's a surplus. Quantity supplied is greater than the quantity demanded, and that will cause producers to bid down the price to get rid of those excess units of the good until we get to equilibrium, where the quantity supplied equals the quantity demanded. And then if the price is ever below equilibrium, that will cause a shortage. The quantity supplied will be less than the quantity demanded, or the quantity demanded will be greater than the quantity supplied. And that will cause producers to bid up the price, and the price will bid up until that shortage disappears, where the quantity supplied equals the quantity demanded. So in other words, if the price is above equilibrium, it will get bid back down to equilibrium. If the price is below equilibrium, it will get bid up to equilibrium. So this is pretty amazing. We are always being driven. All natural economic forces are always driving us towards equilibrium. Now, why is this such a big deal? This is such a big deal because the market is always going to be moving towards equilibrium. And at equilibrium, something really important happens. This process is called the invisible hand. That's what Adam Smith called this back in 1776. The invisible hand. Billions and billions of people all following their own self-interest leads to the optimal social outcome where producers produce the exact amount of the good that the consumer wants. So that's the key. This is where the producers produce. That's your quantity supplied. They produce the exact amount, that's equilibrium, of the good that the consumer wants, which is the quantity demanded. Okay? So this is also sometimes called spontaneous order. Okay? Why? Because it's the decisions of billions of self-interested people that leads to this equilibrium. You didn't need a government to do it. You didn't need some authority to do it. It just happens. Sometimes you might also hear this called emergent order. Order just emerges on its own in the free actions of billions and billions of self-interested people. And this leads to order in society. And what I mean by that is the quantity demanded will be equal to the quantity supplied. The market will clear, the producers will produce the exact amount of the good that the consumer wants. And so we can kind of finish this conversation by saying this. If we take away this is a very concrete example. I'm using numbers here. Very concrete example. Lots of numbers. If we take the numbers away, we end up with something that looks like this. Okay? This is an abstract way to think about it. No numbers, okay? But we just know in general there's going to be a price on the vertical axis and there's going to be a quantity on the horizontal axis. And we know the demand curve is going to slope down. And we know the supply curve is going to slope up. And we know from looking at these previous videos and graphs, we know that the price if it's high, is going to get bid down to equilibrium. If the price is low, it's going to get bid up to equilibrium. So all natural forces will lead us to an equilibrium price where the intersection point is here at Q1, where the quantity demanded is equal to the quantity supplied. And that is what we call equilibrium. So I really don't even have to draw those other graphs now. I can just draw this graph because this is what I know equilibrium is going to look like. The market is always going to be driven to this point where we are at the equilibrium price, where the quantity demanded equals the quantity supplied, and there is order in society. Okay, that is a really cool concept. Emergent order, spontaneous order, or what Adam Smith called the invisible hand. Really cool idea. What we now need to ask is what happens if there's change in this system. And what I mean by that is, what happens if we get a shift in the demand curve or the supply curve? We will look at that in future videos. This has been another Econ Podcast with Mr. Hagan. Thanks for joining me, and we'll see you on the next podcast.